Hey guys, the Tall Primezilla here, aka Sean. Now as I'm talking about my favorite Mortal Kombat characters, I thought, why not make a video that will cover the guest fighters? And here to help talk about these guest fighters is my good friend Daryl, aka Ltdtaylor1970/VA.
Hey everyone, I'm glad to be here. Now we'll be able to discuss certain things about those guest fighters. But how well they fit into the games, how well they play, and how they impact us when they were added to the game. Also, we will not be ranking these fighters, but we will be going over the order they were added in.
Without further ado, let's get started.
And calm, Sean.
I know, but...
MK vs. DC happened.
Did it though? It's not canon!
With Marvel and vs. Capcom being very well-known crossover fighting games, it would make sense to make that Mortal Kombat would get its own crossover with the DC universe.
It was something new that Mortal Kombat needed, but it was met with some bad results.
The choice with some of the DC characters was okay for the most part, but sadly they didn't fit with the tone of Mortal Kombat at the time. Because heroes can't kill and they weren't violent, until the DC Extended Universe and animated films came to existence.
I mean, it was fun seeing Superman battle against Raiden, Scorpion against Batman, Shazam against Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn against Darkseid. The group of guest fighters did play well for the series, but their fatalities were heavily censored due to them being heroes and villains from a well-known comic book series.
The impact they had on as fans left a bitter taste into our mouths.
But at least they made good fighting games for the DC Universe in the form of Injustice, and Joker was done right in MK11.
Not yet.
Alright, something worth talking about!
With the announcement of Mortal Kombat 9, fans were excited to have a new game after the failure of MK vs. DC. But what they didn't expect was the PlayStation mascot from the God of War series being added into the roster in the PlayStation 3 version.
Kratos was officially the first guest character to make an appearance in Mortal Kombat. Heck, he fared quite well with the other characters due to him coming from a gory franchise. It made sense to add in someone who is all about killing and fighting.
His gameplay does have him utilized with weapons he has throughout his franchise. His trademark swords with the gauntlets to bow and arrows. The fatalities were very well implemented. However, when certain characters do certain fatalities on him, they were changed.
Yeah, that's because Sony didn't want their character to look ridiculous when being killed.
But he was good. Would you imagine how stupid it would look if he was struck down trying to run around in circles before being stunned by Ermac?
Overall, Kratos left a pretty good impact on the fans, and that got them asking for more. They were going to pick Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, but I think Kratos was the better choice.
Why wasn't there anyone for the PlayStation 360 version? I think Master Chief would fit into it as well.
Who knows, my friend? Who knows? Talk about something that fans didn't expect.
With the fourth DLC character for Mortal Kombat 9 surrounded in mystery, many fans were guessing who this mysterious character could be. There were many choices that fans were guessing, such as Cybersmoke, Motaro, Fujin, Tanya, Shinnok. But it was finally announced that the fourth DC character was Freddy Krueger. Many fans were excited.
Coming from a well-known movie franchise like Nightmare on Elm Street, proved to be welcome at home with the Mortal Kombat characters. I mean, he is all about killing and has proven to be a good fighter in his own right, but they made him work.
His fighting style was pretty unique. They gave him two gloves to make him even deadlier. His moveset was good too. His fatalities were subtle homage to his movies. I do wish he was based off the original actor and not the reboot version.
Overall, Freddy Krueger left an impact on fans in an unexpected way. Sure, some fans wanted a character from the Mortal Kombat universe, but at least he set tradition of guest stars from movies.
Which why the next guy was something that fans were already saw coming in Mortal Kombat X.
With Freddy Krueger already a success in the last game, it did come as a shock to the fans that they knew Jason was coming for MKX.
Jason truly does fit into the tone of Mortal Kombat, coming from another well-known movie franchise that is about blood and gore. But it's sad that he couldn't fight Freddy in Mortal Kombat X, but overwhelmed a guest fighter who truly feels at home.
His gameplay is one of the best in MKX. He has 3 variations with their own set of style and skills. My favorite one is the slasher variation because he still gets to keep his machete, and the unstoppable variation brings back to life with a small amount of health. And what's better is that he doesn't make a single sound when in pain.
The impact he had on many fans was truly something, and most people play him on online and offline a lot.
Sucks how he doesn't have an alternate outfit, with the only exception being his alternate colors based from an outfit he wore in one of his earlier films.
True, the DLC characters didn't get alternate costumes until Mortal Kombat 11, but I would have loved to see him wear his outfits from the second Friday the 13th.
And what about Jason X?
We don't talk about that. Alright, now we're talking. My boy the Predator.
With Jason part of the mix, it only made sense that NetherRealm added in another famous character, and Predator came as a surprise to the fans. Though MKX didn't have any robots before Triborg, Predator filled the void.
Predator was perfect for Mortal Kombat, and his skill sets were pretty much what you would expect. His species had always been about hunting, fighting, and killing. He felt like the ultimate hunter and fighter. Heck, even I was excited to play as him, and I'm so glad they went with the Jungle Hunter because that is the most iconic version of the Predator. Also, he has his victory outro where he takes the skulls and to his opponents. Depending on who you are playing with, the skulls are different. This includes himself, Reptile, Melina, Devora, Goro, and Alien.
His moveset was pretty unique. His variations had their own unique fighting style. You have one variation that has him maskless. You have one variation that gives him his trademark shoulder cannon, which is the one I played the most. One variation that includes traps.
The impact he left on fans was something that made them excited for more. It's sad that he didn't get his other costumes. I would love to play him as Predator 2 from City Hunter and the APP armor.
True, but that was a different Predator. But because each Predator in the movies was different, who's to say that they won't include them in MK11?
Which Predator did you have in mind?
The upgraded Predator.
You disappoint me.
What, am I the only one who likes the Predator 2018? Now here is someone you never expected to be in a Mortal Kombat game.
With the announcement of Mortal Kombat Pack 2, fans wondering if they were going to add another character who was NPC. You would fight in story mode or one scene in the out cutscenes, but Leatherface came as a big surprise.
Now I never heard of Leatherface until he was revealed. Knowing he came from a horror franchise was interesting. Coming from another franchise about blood and gore, he fit in quite well with the roster of fighters.
His gameplay was very cool. His variations each had a different skill. And what's better, the variations completely changed his appearance to make up for the lack of costumes. The fact that he had to use the chainsaw and hammer in his moveset makes him a good fighter.
In a way, the impact he had on fans came as a surprise. But it's too bad he never fought Jason in an actual movie.
Actually, there's a comic about that.
Wait, what? What do you know? Now we got someone who actually fought against a guest fighter in an actual movie.
Though the fans wanted Baraka back, but what they got something to fill the void like what the Predator did with robots before Triborg.
Alien proved to be welcomed at home. It was already proven that the xenomorphs are fighters, and that makes sense since they're born from people or alien races. By giving him Baraka's blades and skills is what made him a true fighter.
His gameplay is very fun and cool. Just like Leatherface, Alien's variations do change his appearance, but it's only the head. If you want to play as the Queen, there's a variation for it. And speaking of the Queen, she appears in one of the fatalities. However, I think that makes his Baraka skill limited to one variation is a bit disappointing.
Overall, Alien's impact in Mortal Kombat not only gave us a true movie versus fight, but would keep the fans wanting more.
I wonder what would happen if they did give him Baraka's DNA.
It'd probably still work out.
I'll be back just in time for Mortal Kombat 11.
It was a no-brainer that Terminator would be next, but some were wondering which look would they go with. The Terminator with the Arnold skin, or just the endoskeleton?
But thankfully we got both. But it's sad that Arnold couldn't force his character, but handpicked someone to do it.
Now, Terminator may not be from a franchise that is known for blood and gore, but does fit well with being a fighter. We have all seen the Terminator duke it out with many opponents in the past, whether they were human or other Terminators. It's easy to say he fits right in.
The Terminator skills is pretty much what you expect from a machine from the future. He uses grenades from the future and a shotgun. He can teleport with his clothes still on because we all know we can't have a naked T-800 in the game made to play at home. But we are disappointed that his exoskeleton is an ability for when his health is almost out, rather than just his skin.
Overall, the impact he left was about average from fans, though they wish they had Arnold voice his character, seeing as how later on that actors for RoboCop and Rambo would voice their characters in future DLC, and wish that the endoskeleton was a skin than an ability.
You know, that's a question I want to ask. Why did they use his face from Deep Fate as his default skin?
To promote the movie, and why not? We still got his young look.
I know, but Dark Fate is not a good idea.
I think it's okay.
Really?
What? I thought Dark Fate was good.
We may have to just cover the DC Universe cast as a whole, but now has someone from DC who is actually really suited for a game like Mortal Kombat.
Indeed, my friend. The King of Jokes makes it into the game where he is freed from the restrictions of MK vs. DC.
Now, Joker is definitely a character that is pretty much welcome in the game. He may not be based off any of his movies' variations, but his original design is just fine. The fact that NetherRealm picked him instead of any other DC character was a very smart decision.
His gameplay is very well implemented. They give him a variety of moves that go along with his weapons. He has a cane that he can use to beat the living hell out of his opponents. His throw also gives him a hand puppet Batman that is actually a gun. They went all out with the Joker, even in his friendship, where he is forced into it by Batman.
It's safe to say that he made an impact on fans by being the only DC character that deserves to be in the game. Heck, he is the first DC character to be into different Mortal Kombat games.
I'm surprised they didn't make a skin based on his 2019 movie.
I will kill a man for that skin! Now here we go, a character that's truly matched the tone of Mortal Kombat.
Spawn was a character that fans were asking that be a guest fighter since MKX. 4 years later, their wish came true.
Spawn truly fits in with the whole violent Mortal Kombat is. They even got the actor who voiced him in the cartoon. The fact they gave him all different books, had him throughout all this comic book series, made him even cooler. even having some of his best lines. Though not based on his movie version, but still overall a character well served.
His skills are the best parts of him in the game. He uses a cape as a weapon, he can float with it, and use it to punch people. He can use his chains to attack his opponents, giving Scorpion a run for his money. He even uses guns, which is so freaking cool!
Overwhelmed, the fans wanted him and they got impact that they deserved.
Only Batman could be in this game.
He doesn't kill people.
Now this character took me by surprise.
Nobody expected Robocop to be in Mortal Kombat 11.
I guess NetherRealm is just waiting for the right moment to announce Ash Williams.
Unlike the Terminator, Robocop's franchise is known for blood and gore. I would say they made a perfect decision adding him. In fact, they even got the actor who played Robocop in the movies to return to voice him. That's pretty amazing, and safe to say, he fits right in.
His skills in the game are so cool. He comes with all the different weapons he used in the series. He has his flamethrower, his rifle, his pistol, and Ed 209. And his fatal blow and fatality is just so crazy. And to make up for the lack of real robot ninjas, we get robot ninja inspired skins in the classic style. Thank you, NetherRealm, but please put Sector in the game soon, please.
Overall, his impact he made on the fans was pretty impressive.
I'll say.
I mean, you're not gonna bring up how his 2014 skin is in the game.
Why would I? That movie sucked.
Something we can agree on.
Now this is a character that caught me by surprise too.
Indeed, and I thought nobody saw him coming.
My dad is a Rambo fan, and even he was excited to hear Rambo was going to be in this game.
And the question on everyone's minds are, what about Ash Williams?
I can personally say is that Rambo fits right in with the Mortal Kombat characters. He does come from a franchise where he has to kill people and serve his country. Heck, the fact that they got Stallone to voice his character was perfect. I could see no one else voicing the character.
His skills in the game are pretty good. Though I wish his gun skills wouldn't replace his bow and arrow skills. I love how he comes with his knife. His shirtless skin would make people think he almost looked like Liu Kang. But I'm glad they gave him traps to use for his fatalities.
Overall, he made an impact on fans for being the final guest fighter for now. That's all, folks.
Thank you for listening to our explanations on the guests of Mortal Kombat characters.
Are there any characters you want to see become guests?
Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think.
And we'll see you all later.